We're still talking about EU blue cards, this time in front of the Austrian Parliament building, which houses the Austrian National Council and Federal Council. On the outside, a splendid example of Greek revival style designed by Austro-Danish architect Theophil Hansen. On the inside, well, if only Mr. Hansen had left a bit of Athenian wisdom on the inside. But back to our topic, EU blue cards. This is where EU directives like the EU Blue Card Directive are transposed into national law, in our case into the Austrian Immigration Act and the Austrian Act on the Employment of Foreigners. So how has the EU Blue Card Directive been transposed into Austrian law? What are the key requirements? First and foremost, every applicant has to show that he or she has completed university education with a duration of at least 3 years, with one notable exception: if you are a professional in the information or communications industry and you can show that you have 3 years of professional experience acquired in the last 7 years prior to the application, you're also off the hook. In addition, every applicant needs a binding job offer from an Austria-based employer. And while there's no points-based system like in the case of the Austrian Red White Red card, it is still important that the university education is reflective of the requirements for the job to be filled by the applicant in Austria. In addition, to be eligible for an EU blue card, third country nationals have to show that they will earn a certain salary in Austria, and we're presently looking at about 55,700 euros gross each year. That translates into 4,000 euros gross per month. And having said that, please bear in mind that in Austria, salaries are paid 14 times per year. There's a salary for each month, and a vacation bonus, and a Christmas bonus. Finally, successful applicants have to pass a labor market test. In other words, the Austrian labor market authorities have to make sure that there's no suitable candidate on the Austrian labor market, an Austrian and another EU citizen or a third country national with access to the labor market, who could fill the position. Things are also easier for prospective EU blue card holders in several respects. There's no need to show a command of German at A1 level when they file the applications. They are deemed to have fulfilled Module 1 of the so-called integration agreement, essentially a command of German at A2 level, and they do not have to meet the accommodation in line with local standards test, because having a gross salary in the range of 56,000 euros per year, they are deemed to have sufficient income to meet the accommodation requirements. If handled professionally, EU blue card proceedings can be a fast track to residency and labor market access in Austria. We at EOS make sure that you get it right from the start. EOS, when it really matters.